The story of Sodom and Gomorrah is a well-known biblical narrative found in the book of Genesis, specifically in Genesis 18 to 19. It is a story that carries several important moral and spiritual lessons. Here is an overview of the story and the lessons that can be derived from it. The story of Sodom and Gomorrah. In the biblical narrative, Sodom and Gomorrah were two cities located in the plain of Jordan, known for their wickedness and sinfulness. God decided to destroy these cities due to their extreme immoral, depravity. Abraham, who was a righteous man, pleaded with God to spare the cities if even a few righteous people could be found there. God agreed to spare the cities if there were at least 10 righteous people. However, not even 10 righteous individuals could be found. Two angels sent by God arrived in Sodom and were welcomed into the home of Lot, Abraham's nephew. The men of the city surrounded Lot's house and demanded that he bring out the two visitors so they could engage in homosexual acts with them. Lot tried to protect the angels and offered his own daughters to the crowd instead, but the men of the city were determined to commit wicked acts. The angels saved Lot and his family, warning them of the impending destruction and instructing them to flee the city. God rained down fire and brimstone on Sodom and Gomorrah, utterly destroying them and their inhabitants. Lot and his daughters were spared, but Lot's wife looked back at the burning city and was turned into a pillar of salt. Lessons from the story, consequences of sin. The story of Sodom and Gomorrah serves as a powerful reminder of the consequences of wickedness and sin. God's judgment was severe due to the city's extreme moral corruption. It illustrates that individuals and societies can face severe consequences when they turn away from righteousness and embrace sin. Righteousness and mercy. The story highlights the importance of righteousness and God's mercy. Abraham's intercession on behalf of the cities shows that even in the face of impending judgment, God is willing to show mercy if there is righteousness to be found. It emphasizes the value of righteous individuals within society. Hospitality. Lot's actions of welcoming the angels into his home and offering them protection, even at great personal risk, demonstrate the virtue of hospitality. This story underscores the importance of being generous, kind, and protective towards strangers and guests. Avoiding compromise. Lot's willingness to offer his daughters to the mob in order to protect his guests can be seen as a lesson in avoiding compromise of one's moral principles. While his intentions were to protect his guests, it raises questions about the ethics of such a decision. The dangers of looking back. Lot's wife serves as a cautionary example of the dangers of nostalgia or looking back at past sinful ways. Her disobedience and longing for what was left behind led to her transformation into a pillar of salt. The story of Sodom and Gomorrah is often cited in discussions of morality, sin, and divine judgment. It carries important lessons about the consequences of wickedness, the value of righteousness and hospitality, and the need to avoid compromising one's principles.